When showrunners go out and talk about their idea for something, the reimagining of the grandiose, they'll either inadvertently or intentionally insult existing audiences. Take Watchmen, for example. Go and read about what the showrunners are saying about people who liked the original project. Liked a Rorschach? You didn't understand it. Not only that, but you're probably let's spell the word, I to the N to the C-E-L. Fun times, huh? Fun times. So hey there. So today I want to return to that wonderful world of media where we get to find out that companies, they can burn bridges without really wanting to burn bridges. I mean, sure, they think that they're doing great here. HBO actually will get money from this show. They'll get hand over fist probably because you're talking about $16 per person that's going in per month and picking something up. But at the same time, you wonder what kind of damage you can do. See, that's the interesting thing about articles like this. This is meant to talk about the Joker versus the Watchmen and to talk about inadvertent damage. But you know what? You get a lot of that damage done in a different way. So I was reading through this article and I found it to be rather interesting anyhow, because if you like the Joker, well, you're one of those people that enjoys violence for violence sake. And just like the director of that movie, you don't understand that stories, they have the potential to create harm. Isn't that an interesting topic, considering we're talking about something based on Watchmen? See, I remember Watchmen. I remember it very well, in fact. And I remember some of the things that make Alan Moore, well, a little bit, questionable. One of those things is a repeat storyline that he likes to use, wherein people take other people by force, let's say. I mean, that's his return plot device for so many stories, whether that be talking about the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Mr. Hyde and the Invisible Man, anyone, or in this story here. So it's amazing to actually have somebody talk about plot elements that could be misconstrued doing potential harm when this kind of stuff, it's meant to introduce you to a backstory. Maybe people actually deal with violence. Maybe people actually think about violence. But no, instead, you have to have that policed out of your head. I like the way this comes across here. It's clear that the comic book adaptations need to frame violence carefully. And that's something that the showrunner is all too aware of. When he was speaking with Vulture, the Lost co-creator asked himself some important questions surrounding the potential harm these stories can inflict. The territories that worry me the most is what I'll call Joker territory. Was this irresponsible to do? Is it harmful? Considering these questions in the first place is a key to avoiding that so-called Joker territory, but it's also easy to see why Lindoff himself might entertain such concerns. After all, Rorschach is by far one of the most misunderstood characters in comic book history. Now, what's beautiful about this stuff here is now they're going to take shots at people that enjoy Rorschach, because you know what? You're not supposed to. Alan Moore said so. Therefore, who are you to actually like that character? What's interesting is the way that that character has been handled, especially when you're talking about movie adaptations and on other material as well. That character, well, you can take certain things from the page. Other readers, aren't they allowed to do the same? But plenty of fanboys have put on the so-called hero up on a pedestal for sticking to his morals, despite the fact that these morals include killing animals, terrorizing people, not to mention his prejudice against women, poor people, and the entire LGBTQ plus community. Now, the first thing that stuck out to me in that was the discussion about the dogs. Let me remind you of the dogs that Rorschach, he was terrible to. This is Fred and Barney. You see them right there. Fred and Barney, they were owned by Gerald Grice, an unemployed Brooklynite who in the summer of 1975 kidnapped and murdered a young girl whose family Grice believed were wealthy enough for a healthy ransom. Grice not only murdered the girl, but he also butchered her and fed her to his dogs. Having trailed Grice to his Brooklyn home, disused a dressmaker's shop called Modern Modes, Rorschach observed Fred and Barney fighting over a knob of bone in Grice's backyard, but initially did not think anything of it. Only after searching through the rest of the house did he come to the realization that the bone was it was from a little girl. Now, in retaliation, Rorschach killed both dogs with Grice's meat cleaver, splitting both of their heads open. So when you're talking about these dogs, again, yeah, you can blame the owner there, but think about the guy who found that. He was looking into the darkness of humanity. He found something that other people, when you looked at their superheroics, they didn't get down into the nitty-gritty. That's the thing about a lot of his bias in here. He looked at life, and he pretty much felt like a model of Alan Moore. He was disgusted by pretty much everybody in the story, but he had this moral code that he went along with. Does that make him a hero? Heck no. But in Watchmen, is there anybody that truly is a hero when we get down to things? But they continue with this too. As Polygon put it, liking Rorschach is, in my experience, the biggest warning sign that a person has completely missed the point of Watchmen. So if you actually like that character portrayal, well then, you don't understand that character at all. How dare you like this character, even though this character is not only complex, but this character could be full of hate, there could be stigma attached to him. How dare you? How dare you indeed? So here's an interview with Alan Moore added to this too. I meant Rorschach to be a bad example, but I have people come up to me in the street saying, I'm Rorschach, this is my story. And I'll be thinking, yeah, great. Can you just keep away from me and never come anywhere near me again for as long as I live? This coming from the guy who joined a snake handling cult. This coming from the guy that literally hates everybody. You're talking about a dude that if you looked at his biography, if you look at everything about him, you'd find it rather disturbing. But some people, I guess they say, I want to be like Alan Moore too. Does that make him a monster? I wonder. So then we get into that wonderful word here. Much of Rorschach's I to the N to the CEL. That's right, leaning. For want of a better descriptor. There's many descriptors out there. You're just lazy. This is lazy journalism. Are captured best in his journal. He writes throughout the original comic book arc. And even though 3 decades have passed within Lindoff's show, the impact of these scribblings are still very much represented by the ideologies of the 7th Cavalry. Positioned as the modern successor of, well, you see the group there, don't you? Watchmen's white supremacist group wear the same mask as Rorschach and directly quote the most frightening aspects of the manifesto. In less careful hands, the ideal spouted by the 7th Cavalry could inspire viewers with similar political leanings, but Watchmen never glorifies their position in quite the same way the Joker does. Because we're better than the Joker. We basically treated the source material like tripe. We made the guy some kind of a monstrous bigot, even though he is our storyteller for Watchmen. That's another little thing that we're leaving out in a lot of this. We find out what happens because of his view. We actually get to know the character because it's his view. So, all of the leanings that would have been shaven off of a story, say if someone else wrote about a hero, yeah, they're all in there. That's the point of this stuff. See, when they talk about Joker, or they talk about the original Watchmen, that's what they're really kind of insulting in this too, and the people that like both of those and are not aware enough, it says something. It says that maybe, just maybe, they don't give people enough credit. And maybe when they're pulling out the lectum and they want to give us a lecture, maybe it's one we don't want or even need. Not only is this way of thinking insulting, but it also says plenty about the people putting on a show. Because those people putting on that show, they think that you as a consumer are too dumb to understand, fantasy elements from reality and also any kind of high-minded principles. Nope, they have to bludgeon you with something in order to actually make it stick. Fun times, huh? Fun times. But anyway, looking at get this stuff. Rorschach is only 4. Lovely, lovely ideas. But you tell me what you think about this stuff. So, like this kind of content, want to help out the channel? Consider the Case of the Littlest Umbrella. I'll assume you've already subbed. If not, do that too. But yeah, check out the links in the description. This is an all-ages Lovecraftian tale, plus 2 stories associated with the main book, plus another book if you scroll down through here. This is all ages. It's escapism, but it existing at all, yeah, there's a lot of people that get infuriated by that. Also, leave me your comments, pro and con. Let me know what you think about this article. I'm especially interested in seeing what people think about Watchmen, especially if you were one of those people that liked the item before. Maybe you disagree with what I'm saying, and that's okay. I'm curious what you think. I appreciate you showing up. In fact, that's how I want to end, by saying thank you. Many people out there, they forget their consumer base. They forget exactly who empowers endeavors. No one needs to be like that. So ending, I want to thank you. I appreciate you showing up. We'll do this again soon. Thanks.